Hello, everyone. Welcome again to this channel. This episode is beginning a new series on my rant, so to speak, on inhibitors of socio-economic political development in Africa. Specifically, I'm going to use Ghana as a case study. So we're going to go through the Constitution of Ghana, beginning with the preamble, and then we'll take a look at the National Anthem. I think there are a few things that we can study and dissect from there to understand why we are not developing as a country, and then try to extrapolate from there to the entire African continent. Now, there's several models of development, micro and macro factors, but I want to pick this from bottom up, thinking more about the socio-cultural issues, right? And so this is not going to be more economic factors as we used to in the literature. We want to focus on the bottom up, what we as a people need to change to turn the clock in the right direction. So stick with me. So this is an excerpt of the preamble to the Constitution of Ghana. Now, it states that we, the people of Ghana, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity, in the spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world, and in solemn declaration and affirmation of our commitment to freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. So this is where I want to pinch my tent for the moment. When you read these words, it strikes you that the people of Ghana do value or cherish certain principles that are foundational to development of any nation. Right? The fact that we're concerned about securing for ourselves and posterity liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity is quite laudable. And it's also laudable that we cherish freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. These are values that we're so fascinated about when we travel to Europe, United States, and other countries that are highly developed. So now let's begin to juxtapose these words, these values, right? These are the national, cultural, societal values that we cherish as a people. In my world, in academia, we say these are the espoused values, the things that we aspire to. Now, we can juxtapose that with our theories and use, that is, what we do in practice. So how are we faring when we compare issues on the ground? Are we committed to these principles, to justice, to liberty, to accountability, to probity? Now, we can cite some statistics to demonstrate that that's not the case. For instance, let's take a look at the Transparency International CPI, that is the Corruption Perception Index. Ghana scores very low, and low scores means we have high levels of perception of corruption and bribery. Now look at the bureaucracy. Lack of transparency, the bureaucracy is not responsive to people, the citizens of Ghana. We do not deal very well, honestly, in our business transactions. Public officials embezzle state funds with impunity. Accountability institutions like the Serious Fraud Office, Charge, and others are more ineffective in tackling these issues. So we can go on and on and on, etc., etc., but you get the point that we are not faring very well when we juxtapose our practice of theories and use with the espoused values and the Constitution. Now, for the sake of time, let's go to the second item here, the Ghana National Anthem. So as you can see over here, the National Anthem, the lyrics, I'm using the first few as part of the lyrics. So God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Bold to defend forever the cause of freedom and of right. Fill our hearts with true humility. Make us cherish fearless honesty. And help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and might forever. So I've underlined a few things that are very important here. Bold to defend the cause of freedom and of right. Right? Make us cherish fearless honesty. It's a very laudable vows to aspire to. Right? You know, as somebody who has traveled around the world, I know that when you're dealing with people, everybody wants to know who they can trust. Are you honest? Do you keep your word? Do you use honest skills in terms of transactions? Now, we can cite a lot of anecdotes, personal anecdotes, but I need not belabor this point that all of us know that our institutions are not dealing honestly with us. Everyone tries to cut corners. From the passport office, the custom and excise, to the police, law enforcement agencies, everybody tries to cheat someone just to get more money, right? And so it makes life difficult for our people. The ordinary citizen suffers. And it looks like nobody cares about it. And one of the saddest things is that if you look at the breakdown of religion in Ghana, about 70+% of people in Ghana will identify as Christians. So every Sunday, there's almost a church in every corner in Ghana. So if all these people are in church on Sunday, and the Bible teaches about honesty, about loving your neighbor as yourself, and all these people are the same people that will be in the bureaucracies, in the schools, in the police service, because 70% of the people are supposed to be spirit-filled Christians who demonstrate, not only espouse these values, but demonstrate them by loving your neighbor. So if we're not practicing these things and we're suffocating, cheating one another, you cannot trust the passport office to submit your passport on time without having to pay a bribe, send a brown paper, or send something as a gift just for someone to do their work. Then how are we to develop? So in order not to extend this rant, this is my first episode in this series on development in Ghana. Let me end by providing some solution. It's not good to rant and not provide solutions. So I think we can begin by starting from kindergarten, starting from the elementary schools, teaching these principles in the preamble to the Constitution, reinforcing the values we aspire to in the National Anthem, and let these kids transform their minds. In short, we need a new generation who have renewed their minds to love the country, to be patriots, to cherish the common good above self, to think about the well-being of everyone. I believe we can effect this type of behavioral and attitudinal changes through the formative educational system, from the elementary to the secondary school. My second point here is the need to emphasize moral leadership and administrative ethics in colleges and universities. Now, this is a huge thing as well. I think as we tackle the formative level, these students in the universities are going to be the next leaders. And so attitudinal changes, behavioral changes over there will help. Lastly, civic education on the national level and the local levels. Now, while these three bullet points cannot be considered panacea or cure-all solution because the problem is multifaceted, but I think it's a good place to start. So I will try and expound on this in the next episode. Have a great 31st night and a prosperous new year to everyone, wherever you are. I hope to see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.